Police have been told to stand down. We know that there's only one sacred religion in the United States of America, and it isn't the founding religion. It's the invasive religion. And the fact of the matter is, the FBI director who warned us 6 weeks ago, this was just before Hussein's conference, counterterrorism conference in Washington, where he invited Muslim groups. He disinvited the head of the FBI who said that ISIS is in 49 out of the 50 states. Why would he do that to the head of the FBI who warned us? There's only one answer. Someone in that team in the White House is playing for the other side. They're not on our side. Now, of course, the good news here, Alex, is when I saw this terrible event last night, the good news is the beefy Texas cops killed the scum. They wiped the scum off the planet and sent them to heaven where they can go rape babies. I guess that's their reward. They get to rape 72 babies in the next world. What a religion. Isn't that great? Kill someone on this planet so you can rape 72 infants in the next world. Doesn't CNN find that obscene and pornographic and sickening? What can I say to you that you don't already know, Alex? We know we're at war. They've been at war with us for 1,000 years. The president has been at war with America from the time he, I guess, left Colombia and discovered his Afro roots. When he was a kid, he didn't identify with his radical side. Read his own autobiography. Then he found out that by acting like a black radical, everyone kissed his feet. And look where he is today, so why should he stop now? He wasn't a radicalized young man, but he found out that the white people fell on their feet the minute he acted out the Black Panther game. Look where he is now. Why should he stop now? He has that scum, Al Sharpton, in the White House 50 times and no one says a word. The anti-police scum. I get apoplectic over this. Can you imagine if a right-wing president had won the presidency in 2008, and shortly after winning, he invites the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan in and out of the White House for 6 years? Tell me what the vermin at CNN and MSNBC would be saying. Al Sharpton is the equivalent of the Ku Klux Klan on the other side. There he is. There's Ace walking to the plane. Cut that from the feed. Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool. Helicopter. He got Air Force One. He's got the biggest military in the world, and the country is dying. Maybe you can give one of those limp salutes now to the Marines.
What is their end game, Dr. Savage? Clearly, I thought you were exaggerating 7 years ago when you said they would destroy the country, and that this was going to be it, that they'd just destroy everything. Because I imagine that when they finally got power, that they would then do the rational thing and want to maintain it. Not even from a moral perspective. Why scuttle the country? Why wreck it? Why destroy it when they're in control of it?
Well, I believe, Alex, that it's a combination of both willfulness and incompetence. There are those within the administration who go back to the 60s in mentality. Bring it all down, man. You know, then let's rebuild it in our own image. That's the communist view, the left-wing university view. Wreck it. Screw the patriarchy. Bring down the white man. You'll have paradise. That's one view. The other view is a bunch of morons who are college girls who know nothing, on drugs, raised on Adderall, parents who are psychotic. I can name 3 of them. Most of them speak for the Obama administration. One of them is the stupidest girl I've ever seen in my life. I call them Obama's sorority. You know who I'm talking about, that Marie Barf or Marie Harf?
Oh, yeah, and Samantha Powers, all of them.
Moronic, stupid college girls, sorority girls. They don't know what world they live in. They live in a sheltered bubble, and they think that they know the world. They know nothing.
That's what scares me, is that they're starting wars all over the place. They openly armed Al-Qaeda. Now they call it ISIS. They claim they're fighting it, but they keep catching them, giving them arms shipments. Our own military said 2 years ago that they wouldn't be part of being the Air Force for Al-Qaeda. So now they've changed the narrative. Let me ask you this. Do you think they're going to be successful in their takeover plan? If this was a ball game, Dr. Savage, what's the score right now? Patriots versus the French Revolution crazies.
Oh, the guillotines are ready. The guillotines are ready, and they're greasing the skids for the blades. Yeah, are they going to be successful? How much more successful can they be, Alex? Internment camps? I mean, what's next with this group of maniacs?
Don't they have a
I don't
problem?
want to just turn it into the book, but I have to talk about Countdown to Mecca. Because
No, I want to get to that. We're going to break in just a moment because I know it ties into it. But let me just ask you this then, because the book's so important and I want to promote it. But just the 2 minutes before we go to break, the police are super awake despite all their problems. The country's disintegrating. I mean, what do you expect? The military, from what I've seen, is super awake to what's going on. Doesn't that give the socialists, the globalists, a problem? Isn't that their Achilles heel?
No, because Obama gutted all of the combat veterans who could have led a movement against an illegitimate government. He started it right after Benghazi. I named them in my last book. One general after the other was purged like Stalin purged them, only instead of shooting them, first they smeared the generals. He got drunk in Moscow. You hear this? He got drunk in Moscow, so they fired the chief of our nuclear arsenal, the man who knew how to run the nuclear system. He was fired for getting drunk in Moscow. Another one was found with a gambling chip in his trousers after going gambling. I mean, if that was the score here, they would have all quit. I guarantee they've done more than get drunk and go gambling. So, no, they're gone. The police have been deballed by this illegitimate, racist administration. Holder has deballed the police. Look what they've done in various cities, using the pretext of racism, all lies, to deball the police. So, yeah, the police are there. They're brave and they're armed. The military is there. They're brave and they're armed. But who's going to lead them? Without a Napoleon, where do the troops go?
Well, that's another point. That's why George Soros got caught, as you know, openly trying to fund the white instigators they send in to chant, kill the pigs and all this, and then they get away with it. It's so clear they're trying to start a civil war.
Remember my last book, Stop the Coming Civil War?
Yes.
Well, guess what? It started. We don't have to talk about it. Has there been a civil war? Yeah, it's a slow-burning civil war. What do you think we're looking at here? It's a race war. These are their shock troops. These are their shock troops. And they don't have the brown shirts yet. They don't have the armbands. But soon Obama could deputize them. Isn't that a natural army for him, Alex?
It is. That's what he called for, a national security force.
Take the Crips and the Bloods, give them a green uniform, and give them a weapon. And they'll keep order in the streets, won't they?
It's so crazy, and history's repeating itself. It's just bizarro land. Dr. Michael Savage is our guest. We're going to come right back into his new book, Michael Savage, Countdown to Mecca. Straight ahead, I'm Alex Jones. Most talk show hosts do not have other talk show hosts on their shows, but I've been on Michael Savage's. He's had a lot of my reporters on his, and vice versa. Because I can tell you, at the end of the day, we probably agree with each other on about 90% of things. It doesn't matter. We want to have a country. I know I'm not speaking for him. I've listened to his show. I know what he says, and I'm on the same page. These are real totalitarians we're dealing with. It's about raw power. They're using a communist playbook, but they're fascist when it gets to the upper echelons. That's what Ted Cruz has said. He's called them liberal fascist, and they are. And Michael Savage, one of the smartest intellectuals out there when it comes to really understanding what we face, his last book came out a year ago, How to Stop the Coming Civil War. And now 96% of Americans in a Gallup poll think a race war is coming. Listen, I'm not kidding when I say that I, in the last few months, 3 times, have had people 3 times come up and say racial things to me in Austin, a very friendly town, living here most of my life. And it's happening all over the country, and it's all MSNBC in the White House. Meanwhile, we're being sold out to China. Michael Savage has a new book out, Countdown to Mecca. And Dr. Savage, I'm guessing, I haven't read the whole book yet. I know your last book got censored, unprecedented, because it was nonfiction and really criticized China. Now, am I guessing that you've put a lot of what you really think's going on into a fiction book, or what's happening?
That's why I went back to the novel format, because you can only go so far in speaking in a documentary fashion about reality. I have a radio show, and I have restrictions, as you do. We have various and sundry restrictions, meaning on how far we can go on a public broadcast. When it comes to fiction, though, I guess you can use your imagination still. The censors haven't gotten to it. So in Countdown to Mecca, I pose a certain theory that a group of patriotic generals get together and they see the scourge of Islam, what it's doing to the world, and they want to take care of the problem directly. So they plot to do something in Mecca. And the book is all about the general's plot. Now, these are families, these generals are not wild cards off the gutter. 3-4 generations in military, highly educated, VMI, West Point. So the dialogue between them, analyzing whether to do it, is, I think, very well done. And my hero, Jack Hatfield, gets wind of it in an obtuse manner. And he analyzes this and realizes that by doing harm to Mecca and killing millions of Muslims, you're going to set off a war that will never end. So he tries to stop the plot. Now, I will be castigated with this book by the vermin at MSNBC and CNN for saying the opposite of what the book says. The vermin, the Solentarists, to not use a word that has too much connotation, we won't call Wolf Blitzer and company vermin. We won't call MSNBC vermin. We'll call them Solentarists. The Solentarists will say, oh, he wants to blow up Mecca without having read the book. It's the opposite. The whole book is a novelistic plot which shows intelligent people discussing such a doomsday scenario and saying, don't be crazy, it'll set the world afire.
Sure, that's like Jade Helm. All he said is it's conditioning for military occupation for the Tea Party, which they admit, and the media says that I say Obama is going to invade Texas. They always deceive. Please continue.
I want to read you a paragraph, Alex. I know that you're going to like it. So it's the generals are talking about it. It's 2 paragraphs long. And one of them says to the other that they should do it. And the General Morton invites them to a shooting range at West Point to finish the plot. And the men say to him, what did you get us here for? And he says, I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve, Brooks quoted, as if General Morton hadn't spoken. Therefore, strike off their heads and strike off every fingertip of them. Who said that? He looked into the face of each general. Reynolds seemed to look back at him, but in fact his gaze wavered between the general's eyebrows and eyelashes. Bullseye looked around like a soldier on point. Only Morton stared back defiantly, his lips tight. The Quran, sir, Morton replied. Verse 812, just one of the more than 100 verses that call Muslims to war with what they call non-believers. General Brooks asked, and who do they call non-believers? Anyone who isn't Muslim, Reynolds interrupted. Quran 551 states that Muslims are not to take Jews and the Christians for friends. Allah describes them as unjust people, close quote. The Quran invokes kill the infidel 120 times, General Brooks said quietly, almost to himself. He gazed at the empty sky. What kind of sane nation permits these people to practice such open hatred? Sir, Morton said, I thought we were here to discuss Firebird. That's the generals in their discussion of why they're planning this.
Michael Savage, quick break, long 18-minute segment coming up. I'm going to give you the floor to really drill into as much as you can tell us about this book that's now just coming out, Michael Savage, Countdown to Mecca, and as he said, the media is already coming out and spinning what the book actually covers. Stay with us. Radio host Michael Savage is our guest for the rest of the hour. MichaelSavage.com. The new book on the #1 New York Times bestseller, Michael Savage's Countdown to Mecca. Available in bookstores everywhere and Amazon.com and MichaelSavage.com, WorldNetDaily.com, you name it. You should support him. You should support independent media that tries to get people thinking. And I'll be honest, if you go back 15 years ago, I saw the PNAC Clash of Civilizations, the neocons saying, we'll start a war with Islam because they've already started a war with us and have this big war and beat them. And I think that's kind of what Savage is getting into in the book. I haven't read it yet, only have 30 or 40 pages. It's excellent, like all his books. But that's basically a more modern example in fiction of what's going on. But at the same time, I'm not what you'd call, to use a liberal term, Islamophobic. I know that there are Alawites and non-radical groups and, you know, nice people I went to college with or whatever. But the big, strong vein of Islam, funded by Saudi Arabia and others, is to conquer, is to take over, I mean, they're killing Christians all over the world. The UN admits in 2014, the worst year on record for Christians. I mean, and then I watched CNN, Anderson Cooper, praising the Muslim Brotherhood when they were blowing up churches every day, crucifying people upside down, and attacking the military with one of our greatest allies. So I see Obama working with Odinga his Muslim cousin in Kenya